Hey ladies and gentlemen, once again welcome to the channel. I do hope that you're doing fine, and I do hope that this video will find you in absolute good health. Now, today I want to talk about something, an opinion poll that members of parliament have been talking about. And this is not an opinion poll that was done by InfoTrack or these polls that we do understand. It's an opinion poll that I feel it came from the intelligence. Honorable Kibagendi, who is the member of parliament for constituency in Kisi, Kitutu Chaje constituency, was talking in some local station, and he revealed the opinion poll, how the intelligence gave that poll, and what were the numbers. And if you've been seeing some political changes, it's not by coincidence that we are having President Ruto nominating a member of public service cabinet secretary from Embu County, where also Muturi was after he was fired. It's not by coincidence that Raila Odinga was incorporated into government. And the all changes you have been seeing, those are for political, measured there for political purposes, and they are very strategic. You saw the president going to Baringo, picking the wife of the former senator who had passed into cabinet. All those things are made for the political purposes. And ladies and gentlemen, in that opinion poll, as per Honorable Kibagendi, and he was also referring to other people who are very close, and they were saying that an opinion poll was done, and President Ruto was leading. That was at the end of the last year. But the percentage which was leading with was 21%. As 21%. And that's if elections were held today, at that time, that was last year, December, President Ruto was leading by 21%. But who was following closely? Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo Musyoka was following closely with a 17% margin. And according to this poll, they decided to assume that Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, I don't know why, but in their assumption they did that Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka and Fred Matiang'i will be running separately. So they also did for Fred Matiang'i. Actually, that was the topic was about Fred Matiang'i in that analysis, in that interview, and the rise of Maraga in Kisii. And they were trying to say that Maraga had been pushed to come and at least cut the votes of Matiang'i. And in that opinion poll, Matiang'i had 11%. President Ruto 21, Stephen Kalonzo 17, and Matiang'i at 11%. At by that time, that was towards the end of last year. And the person now who was having an issue in that poll, and the person that is being they were feeling that is a threat, is Okengo Matiang'i. And the reason behind Okengo Matiang'i being feared or being felt as a threat is because, as we're talking today, Okengo Matiang'i is not even in Kenya. Okengo Matiang'i has not anywhere declared to run for presidency. Okengo Matiang'i has not done any political move calculation. But as per the opinion poll, he stands at 11%. And that was one of the greatest fear. Imagine a person who has not declared even for presidency, who has not come to the limelight and even called for a meeting, told even his own people from the Gusii region that he will be vying, other than third-party people saying he was at 11%. And that was the biggest issue. And after that opinion poll, they went back to the drawing board. And according to Honorable Kibagendi, a region like Gusii, that's why Maraga came up. And Kibagendi explained that Maraga was, he says that Maraga was working with Ruto, in that there is a position that Maraga was, I think, was it police, the police, there was a position that Maraga was doing in government. I know a lot of people are aware of that. And they wanted to give him another position, but he wasn't given. And later he came out and there was the Gen Z thing, and now he declared for presidency. And according to Honorable Kibagendi, he says that Maraga he's been pushed to come and at least counter the popularity of Fred Matiang'i, because according to the opinion poll, Matiangi popularity, Matiangi was receiving 95+ percentage popularity in the Gusii region and the Kuria nation. The Kuria, Kisii and Nyamira, 95% of the vote was Matiangi. And then a good number of Gen Z were putting their vote behind Okengo Matiangi. So the only person who could counter that is Maraga, because Maraga also enjoys some side of Gen Z. Actually, if you've been listening to him, is that a lot of people are pushing his outcome with the Gen Zs. So if Maraga could stand, he could get some votes from Gusii region. He could get a good number of votes for the Gen Z, and that vote is probably a vote that could have increased the 11% of Matiangi. And by Maraga coming up, we will have at least countered that. So Matiangi is a threat according to the poll, but you cannot also leave alone Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. He was at 17%, four closer to President Ruto. And remember that most of the time when these polls are being done, the person in sitting president will always be at the top. But as we are moving to the election, you will find that he's losing, other candidates are gaining as political things are being calculated. And people will be gaining slowly. By 2027, you'll find that we have now an ultimate outcome of the opinion poll that will remain constant. Actually, even the United States, that's how opinion polls are. Even in the last election, we found that Kamal was leading. He was actually leading by more than 10% some months earlier. But as elections are moving closer, Trump was gaining because of strategy and the people incorporating into your side and the strategies you are implementing. So anything you've been seeing, and a lot of things are going to happen. Now, Kalonzo Musyoka is at 17%, Matiangi is at 11%. Should these two people come together? Imagine if these two people now came together and decided now, okay, Kalonzo is the presidential candidate, Matiangi is the running mate, or vice versa. If this ticket comes together, then it was going to give the head of state hard time to run for 2027 general election. So, what options were in place? Bring upon Raila Odinga. Because there was no possibility that that election was going to be won without Raila Odinga in place. So they went to Raila Odinga and incorporated Raila Odinga. I'll be watching to see if there's a new poll that will come out of the intelligence of what are the numbers as per now. Remember that also from last, that was the 3 months that we have been, that's January, February, March, a lot of things have happened. Youths have come out, have expressed the opinion there were chance of Ruto must go in Naivasha, Nyayo, and the president has also made an attempt to go to the Mount Kenya region, where he had been stayed about 6 months without going. Those minor things contribute a lot in politics. They change a lot in politics. During campaigns, you see presidential candidates going to regions, spending 5 days there, 6 days going to another region. Those campaigns change a lot in politics. They are the things that determine your percentages and your popularity. And now, a lot of things have unfolded from that was January, February, March. Maybe President Ruto has gained or lost. Maybe Matiangi has even gained. Maybe with the coming of Maraga has also created some percentage. But one thing also I cannot forget to talk about is that a lot of Kenyans are still undecided. They are watching, and that's the behavior of a lot of Kenyans. You can see about 50% of Kenyans are still watching. Okay, me, I'll make my decision later, or I'm not happy with these presidential candidates who are there. I'm waiting to see if somebody else will emerge. A lot of Kenyans are watching. Some will not even reveal their thought, but they are watching to see how things will be unfolding. So there is a lot of change that can happen. But from that poll, as I've got it from Honorable Kibagendi, is that President Ruto cannot get re-elected without the help of Raila Odinga. The numbers cannot work out, especially when you are sitting president. There are claims of economy not doing very well, unemployment, and the people are telling you this are the people who elected you, not the people in the opposition. If Raila Odinga today or in 2027 decides to run for presidency or defects from the Ruto's camp, where will the numbers come from? So we are almost going to experience a very competitive election in 2027, and there is a chance that, as I've seen numbers, that for the first time in Kenya, we may have a runoff election where a candidate fails to reach 50+1. Because if we have been having two serious candidates, that's Raila Odinga and Ruto, and they are at 50 plus, like the 2022 general election, results were almost edging. Now, what of a scenario where we have three more candidates who are having some percentages in the polls? If Matiangi is running independently, Kalonzo is running independently, Raila defects, Ruto is running independently, that election cannot be won in the first round. And I will be doing the next video to talk about the possibility of a runoff and what can conspire in case we have a runoff. Who will join who? Because in a runoff, it's number one and number two who will be running. So it means that those candidates who are number 3, number 4, number 5 will declare their support to either number 1 or number 2. So what can happen in case we have a runoff in the 2027 general election? Who will benefit? But otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you for today. As much as the most important thing is that a lot of things are happening politically to see people are aligning their political waves to see that by 2027 the percentage are in their favor. If they are not in their favor, then people will be losing that election. Stay safe. You can tell me what you think in the comment section about the poll that Honorable Kibagendo was talking about, and it's a poll that came not from the normal polls that we are having in the country. Stay safe whenever you are, and if you are politics you are like and you're watching this channel for the first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also like this video so that it can be recommended to a wider audience.